All right, guys. Let me see. I'm up again. All right. Oh my God! Now they disabled the chat. This fucking. I hate you, YouTube, so much. Why are you so? How is it? Oh my God! This is some bullshit. Okay, hold on. Sorry, you guys. We'll get this going in a minute. How? Oh my God. Okay. It says live. It says it's disabled, but how is my chat disabled? Okay, you see the website site? Do you see the next one? You see the music? But it's crazy because it says from anybody that's watching that the chat has been disabled. So I'm like, why has the chat been disabled? And why are there two oh, fucking A, dude. Okay. Hold on. I think I figured out what the issue is. Let's do this one. Okay, I think, okay. You see the chat? Okay, I think we're ready to go. All right, guys. You can't hear me. It's not disabled. You can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Audio. Okay. You guys can you guys see the live chat and can you hear me? I just need to know that before I can go on. Hello? I just need to know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Okay, I think we're ready to roll. Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. Good morning. Sorry about that. Again, I mean, I don't know how many times I can I can say this, right? Like I'm like, "Hey, I think I'm going to start at 10 and I'm ready to start at 10 and then there's some I can see the chat and hear you. I can hear you. Yes, okay. We can see the chat and hear. Okay, cool. All right. Again, promos then. Join my music channel. Oh, first of all, please sign up for my email list. You know, with all the censorship and all the craziness that's going on, I need to keep in touch with you via my email list. You know, whether I go down on YouTube or any other social media, if I have my email, if I have you guys on an email list, I can always tell you like what I'm up to and where I'm going. So, let me see. Also, join my music channel. Oh my God, thank you so much for the people that already joined. I'm going to be releasing new music at the end of this month with the video. And then I'm going to use that to do a crowdfunding, a fundraiser or crowdfunding campaign to fund my album at the end of that I will want to release at the end of next year. So, also, please sign up for my Conspiracy Realism course. The 4th module is up after much drama. I'm working on the 5th module now. The last module was medicine and science, and right now I'm working on the 5th one, which is the education system. They're going to be 10 in all, so it was supposed to go up to $80 this week, but because I blundered, I'm going to leave it at $40 until I put the 5th module up. And then I also am always seeking. Thank you for my Subscribe Star patrons and I'm also seeking Patreon patrons. I'm doing both. It's not loading, but It's there. It's there. I don't know what's going on. Let's see what's going on. Anyway, oh, okay. I wanted to do something really fast before I get started taking calls because the other day I was talking about and I was showing you guys all the doctors that I follow, and then I went back and I watched the video, and something really weird happened. Like YouTube, like split my video in two and made two versions of the video. So one video didn't show me showing the web pages and the other one did. So I just wanted to show the web pages. So all of you guys that want to know more medical stuff and know how to like navigate your health, alternatively or outside of the allopathic paradigm, these are the doctors that I follow. All right, this is Dr. Suzanne Humphries. She had a website. I don't know what happened, but I mean, she gives all of her lectures here, and she's amazing. What she does, she goes to different parts of the world. She actually lectures to other doctors. So she was a physicist who actually got her medical degree, and then she specialized in nephrology, which is a kidney doctor, and she also taught other doctors, and she teaches other doctors, and her lectures are eye-opening. She's also the co-author of the book Dissolving Illusions. She's just phenomenal, and she really makes her information very, very easy for lay people to understand. This, not the best, quality wise, but it's full of information. And I'm talking about quality as far as visuals. This is when she first started, and then after, you can tell she probably hired somebody to make her presentations more professional. But she did this amazing. I made a copy of this because I'm afraid that this is one of the things, if they erase the internet, like this is gonna be lost. But she did this phenomenal lecture on polio, and it really gets you thinking. And there are really a lot of parallels with polio and what happened with polio and what's happening today with the coronavirus. So her lecture is called Smoke, Mirrors, and the Disappearance of Polio. Also, smallpox. She does a really good presentation on smallpox. The polio one years ago blew my mind. Like, I mean, yeah. Anyway, so that's one doctor I follow. I also follow Dr. Tom Cowan, him and I think Dr. Andrew Kaufman. They're actually both doctors. Dr. Andrew Kaufman is he's an MD, and he's also a psychiatrist, and they're both going to relinquish their medical license because they've been speaking truth about this COVID nonsense, and they know how the medical establishment are, how bullies they are, what horrible, people they are. So they know that they're going to come after their license. But you know what? They're just like, fuck it. We know we have the knowledge. We have enough people to follow us to make a living, and we don't need our license. They don't. They can give advice from from the knowledge that they've already attained. And, in a lot of cases, it seems now, especially for doctors that want to speak the truth, having a medical license is actually a hindrance because, they can take it away from you. And if they can take it away from you, then it's easier for them to discredit you. But if you voluntarily relinquish your medical license, then they really can't do shit to you. So they're really smart in doing that. He has really good. Dr. Tom Cowan has also written 3 books. He's written one on vaccinations. He's written one on vaccines and autoimmunity. He's written one about the heart, and I think he did one on water. He might have more books. He's a genius. I mean, keep an eye on this guy. This guy's gonna go. All these people actually, they're gonna go for you. Andrew Kaufman, same thing. I actually interviewed him. If you want to go back into my interviews and see the interview that I have with Dr. Andrew Kaufman. I think he's interviewing other people on his page, but this guy with the glasses and the beard, that's what he looks like, right? But he's also interviewed other doctors. And then what else? Yummy Mummy, Amanda Vollmer, she's phenomenal too. She just has a book that came out, Healing with DMSO. But I follow her. She's an amazing doctor. Very knowledgeable. Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. She's a DO, and people laugh and they're like, oh, well, she's a DO. Well, technically DOs actually get more training than medical doctors, so she knows more than a medical doctor, but she's really a really leading expert about vaccines and stuff, and she even has courses I don't know how much their courses are, but she actually has courses for lay people to educate them about vaccines. I don't know. They open at certain times of the year because I think she's very hands on. It's not just video stuff, like you actually have projects and stuff to do. So she's amazing. And then Robert Scott Bell, he's kind of like my mentor. I love him. He is I know him personally, and he his show, he does like 6 days a week, 3 hours a day, 2 3 hours a day, 6 days a week. He takes his show on the road and travels. And Robert is one of the few people that I know that can stand in his convictions and his beliefs, but also is very diplomatic and open to hearing other people. And he's healed just like hundreds, maybe even thousands of people all over the world with his advice. He's also a homeopath. He's had horrible, if you listen to his personal story, he had horrible gastrointestinal issues where he would be hospitalized every month because he couldn't, like, have a bowel movement. I know it's getting a little graphic, but he really had really bad terrible, terrible, terrible gut GI issues, and he was able to heal them with the knowledge that he knows, and that's why he ended up being a homeopath. He actually was going to be a medical doctor, but he ended up being a homeopath, and he's a huge leader in the health freedom movement. Same thing, this sexy lady here, Carrie Brogan, is amazing. She was on Joe Rogan. She was on, you might be able to get some of her interviews on there, even though I'm not a fan of Joe Rogan myself, but he has, needless to say, he has very interesting, informative guests. But this is her website, and she's married to this dude, Sayer G, who, I don't know if his picture's up here. Oh, that's Sayer G right here in the on the left-hand corner. He is he also has a new book now out, Regenerate, but he's a healer, phenomenal person, and he's also the founder of Green Med Info. They have really, really informative information, all kinds of alternative health. So yeah, they even I think he interviewed Dr. Kaufman right here. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, those are people that I follow, and I encourage you to follow them too if you want to be empowered with knowledge about these topics. These are really informative people and doctors that really want to help people, not just, they didn't become a doctor just so they can throw it in your face and, feel better about themselves. They actually are trying to help people. So anyway, all right. There's my spiel. What's up, guys? Hi. Good morning. Good morning. All right. So I guess we can start with the calls. Let me put my, so many windows open. So many windows. Okay. All right, 512-481-7464. I got till 12 o'clock today. 512-481. Hold on, I'll put it in that. 512-481-7464. There we go. I had chicken pox. It sucks. Did you die? Chicken pox sucks. It does. Man, I mean, I'm saying it like I've had it. I've never had chicken pox. And I was exposed to people that had chicken pox because when my cousins got it, my mom made me play with them. And I remember not wanting to play with them because they had all these gross, disgusting lesions on their skin. And I was like, ew, that's nasty. My mom's like, you're playing with them. And I was like, what? It's gross. And I never got it. And my mom has never had the chicken pox. So, but I think my antibodies test for chicken pox because I went somewhere, and when I went to Taiwan, I was like, I don't know if I'm up to my vaccinations. They're like, oh, we can test your blood to see if you have the antibodies, and I think I had the antibodies to chicken pox. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the medical literature too that talks about just because you can, antibodies basically, all they do is show that you have that you've come in contact with something. It's not even like a direct thing that says that you're immune to a disease. It basically tests whether you've actually just come in contact with it. So, but I never got it. I've been around people that have had it, never had it before. Yeah, yeah. Good morning, V. You still start your day at 5 a.m. Not today. I slept in until about 8, but I try to get up around that time or a little bit before. Hey, Tony, what's up? What's up? Is anybody calling? 512-481-7464. 512-481-7464. Yeah, I heard chickenpox sucks. I just remember they were itching and they had these. I was like, ew. So I don't have any pox scars, but believe you me, I had everything. I had every fucking other disease that was out because my immune system was whacked. Which was weird that I didn't get chickenpox though, because I thought out of anybody that would get it, I'd be the first to get it because I was getting everything else. I've actually had scarlet fever. I've had scarlet fever twice. So, what are we discussing? Diseases. How fun. No, we're just kind of rambling, Julie. Hello again, Mr. Boston. Hello, Missy. I'm waiting for somebody to call. 512. You guys ask me questions in the comment. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to comment on? 512-481-7464. Y'all better ask me. I only got till Wednesday. I can't be doing lives right now a lot, so I was taking this week to catch up on lives and, what are we talking about today? Surviving in this craziness. Whatever you want to talk about. What are the new headlines? What is on your mind? What is on your mind? What's bugging you? What do you want to get off your chest? What are you experiencing today? Let's talk about how amazing this lotion is. I'm always talking about stuff I'm not even getting sponsors for, but I'm trying different lotions. It's like this vanilla lavender lotion. It's really good. It smells great. What's going on Wednesday? Oh, Wednesday is just the last day of my call-ins. I said I was going to do a week worth of call-ins back-to-back live. And then, am I qualified to call? Anybody can call. What do you mean you're qualified? What do you want to talk about? Hit that like button, people. I'll call in. 512-481-7464. I forgot to tell you, if you are outside of the country, connect with me at info@truthertalk.com. I think that's my Skype address. So, is anybody? Let me see if anybody's. Oh, somebody's calling. Hi. Come on. Open. App open. Hello. How are you? Good morning.
Hey, this is Cerebral again.
Hey, what's up, dude? How are you?
Cerebral I'm doing good. How are you doing this morning?
Good. Man.
So I got a little...
Yeah, go on. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I was just going through some of the stuff I was looking through quickly on Twitter, and I guess Twitter's coming out with this new bird watch, I think they're calling it, where they're going to add more fact-checking to everyone's tweets and context.
Oh, great. Wonderful. More tyranny. Wonderful.
So, right?
They're calling it bird watch to make it sound all innocent. Oh, we're not spy. It's not Gestapo. It's bird watching.
Right.
I just call it the Gestapo. What?
No, you call it Gestapo. I mean, the technocratic system is, disgusting.
Wow. So when are they going to implement this?
They started bragging about it today, and that means that something like this has been, they've been working on the algorithm for this for a while. So, I assume probably before the election, because they're going to want to mess with everybody more.
Yeah, for sure.
And I had a friend that actually used to work in Google, and he contacted me, and my best friend is a psychologist. And he's like, you guys are going to be kind of disappointed with me, but I'm one of the people that's writing these algorithms that's going to learn from you. And he built the ads in Google that like study people, and then will go into your feed and put that either in Facebook or wherever, you know. So it's really interesting kind of hearing about that 10 years ago.
Well, does he have, so he has guilt about it?
Yeah, he had guilt about it. He quit. He eventually quit. I haven't talked to this individual because he's a closer friend to my best friend. So, but he no longer works for Google. He went and started, I think he works for a video game company now. But a bunch of my friends do work in the programming world, and, you know, hearing them talk about how they're building kind of like a hive mind, kind of like AI unit all together, right? These things are eventually going to work together between each other, communicate, you know.
It's Skynet, basically, right? It's Skynet, basically, right?
Yeah.
I said,
yeah,
it's
I
Skynet.
mean, on Netflix, they have a little documentary. I watched it about this. It's called The Social Dilemma. And I'm always very wary about any documentary they put up there because there's always going to be a form of biasness in it.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and
especially from the left side. You know, like I feel like because they feel like they're losing power and they want to maintain power, they have to act like they're the good guys while they're basically, you know, trying to. Because my friend was telling me about that she watched The Social Dilemma, and then she's like, the first half is good, and then they basically you know, turn the narrative and talk about why it's good to what do you call it, censor people, because you know, the people like anti-vaxxers that are getting out there, you know,
right?
and stuff like that. So they actually, they talk about it, you know, they admit what they're doing, but then they make a case for censorship because we can't let these lay people, you know, run things. We're the ones that are in power, you know, basically.
I'm trying to remember the psychological term for what they did. What you do is you present the information that's true, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you throw something in there, like right in the middle, to like just leave you with a sour taste. And then they revamp it and say, well, but here's the solution to that problem.
Yeah, it's problem, reaction, solution.
Right.
Is Hegelian dialectic lying? I don't know. What are you trying to think of? Right? Just straight up lying. You know, manipulation.
Yeah, I mean,
manipulation. I know there's a term for it, though, right?
It's just amazing because at the MSM, you know, they use this all the time. They'll start talking about something like they always do. You throw a little bit of breadcrumbs of truth out there, and that way, if you were to Google a little bit, you'll be able to find that little amount. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, like the rest of us find, you have to go through pages and pages just to actually find an actual legitimate source that's not biased.
Oh, it's maybe it's a form of astroturf. That's what, you know, Cheryl Atkinson did a really good TED Talk where she's talking about that. She's talking about astroturfing and talking about like how they're you know, they do that. Basically, she breaks down like how they do that, and like, oh, you think you've done your research, and you know, there are people like my brother who's smart, but he's also flipping lazy. Like he'll go and he'll look up something, and he'll go on the first Google search. He'll look it up. He'll be like, oh, well, Google says right here that, you know, you're wrong because it's the first search. I'm like, okay, well, I don't really know what to tell you because, you know, it's just frustrating too. Like I've done all this research. I've read books. I've talked to people. I've traveled places. I've gone to, you know, conferences. I've gone to protests, and you know, it's accumulation. I have this knowledge because accumulation of things that I've done, and yet, you know, somebody goes to Google, you know, and looks something up, and then they think that they know everything, and they can, you know, they know more than you just with that first search, you know. It's frustrating.
I mean, part of that comes down to egotism, and the other part of it comes down to that you went and got direct experience. You went and physically experienced it. You could feel the wind. You could feel everybody's emotions when you were going through, you know, the protests, right? Mm-hmm. It's like someone watches the Red Grove documentary on the Red Grove Forest, and they're watching all these cuts, right? You can't actually experience what it's like to be right there by one of those giant trees in California. Yeah. You can't feel the wind. You can't smell the air. You're not there physically, actually rawly, you know, experiencing this. You're instead experiencing something that an artist like me or you has gone through and processed. And we're pulling out the different parts of it that we know will catch your eye, you know, and like, I don't need to go into detail on that, but it's all about
It's
what you do
visceral.
physically go through and experience.
It's visceral as opposed to just online. So a lot of these people that are in tech and stuff like that, and they have a lot of them. They live in an artificial reality. They're like they don't even go out and like I'm talking about my brother and a lot and like he hasn't really traveled like I have. Like living outside the country gives you different perspective. You start talking to people. You can't, and I bring that up, and I'm like, hey, I've talked to lots of these people that have been injured by vaccines. A lot of them were actually in the industry, in the medical industry. A lot of them were actual scientists, and well, that doesn't matter because I went to Berkeley and my Berkeley textbooks are smarter than you. I'm like, okay, I don't really know like how you're gonna survive in life with that attitude, but I mean, like that's, I just think it's different and going out and experiencing things too. And I even respect the fact that there are different political views because I think a lot of the political views that people have are based on their own personal experiences. However, I just see this whole trend where there has been a concerted effort to push out the other side and not give them a fair shake and a fair say in order to make an informed decision by looking at both sides. You know?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's the whole thing of don't judge a book by its cover. Actually, do your diligence and look into like things. And people that have lived through certain experiences will know like, oh, I know that everything can't be just taken from face value. And whenever I see something say it on the news, that is just I mean, you look at all the logos moving and everything. They're constantly got a moving screen. They have a head bopping up and down. There's something always there to keep your attention. Rather than actually keeping you from diving into a book or Google searching something. And like a lot of people become so comfortable. Like I was thinking about like say my parents because we're all going through this dilemma. Like what can we do to like either wake people up or help humanity to just like hey just question it, just please just have your own independent thought. And the thing is they're in their own, as we all know, and like you said, they're in their own virtual reality. All they're going to go to is the sources that are going to tell them what they want to hear, because that's what's going to make them feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. They're afraid, So like, I don't know. It's such a
they
complex
play on the
situation,
anger, right? They're just like, oh, well, Trump's done everything, so then they can't take responsibility for anything. They always have a scapegoat. It's always Trump's fault. It's always Trump supporters' fault. It's always a white supremacist fault. Nothing that that they've done or nothing. Oh well. It keeps people in a very like immature state of arrested development too. Even as grown ass people, you see these people that act like children because they haven't. They have been, or what am I trying to say? They haven't really taken responsibility for anything in their life. And this society, this leftism, ideology has allowed them to be that way, and it's very sad for them because it's not going to end well for them. Whether they have a nervous breakdown or whether they're proven wrong and they go crazy or they just think the world's against them because it's I mean it doesn't matter if they're leftists. It doesn't end well for anybody like that. Anybody that has that like very closed-minded sense of reality. It's not going to be good for them. It is everything's coming to a head and a lot of stuff is going to be revealed, I believe. So I think it's not going to be good.
You're right. I think a veil is about to be lifted on a lot of things. I mean, that's part of also like the only way I feel that these people are going to be able to like go the direction or try to drive humanity to where they want is they're going to have to actually start releasing more truth themselves. And it's going to happen naturally because it's just part of like, I believe, how the spiritual system works.
But I also think oh, go on. Sorry.
No, you please.
Oh no. I just wanted to add to that though. I think that there are people that aren't going to wake up. I just think that there are people that they're just going to be lost. They're going to be lost. I would like to say. I would like to.
What's up?
Oh no! I just want to say I would like to say that I'm like everybody's going to wake, but I've just come to the conclusion. I just think that people they're not going to wake up. They're going to be lost. They're going to be in that constant state of fear, and that's sad.
it's not only are they going to be a state of fear, but I mean, when you watch say things like on the media, they never talk about us being responsible for our own actions.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that's like just tried to define, it's easy to define, say, slavery, but defining the word freedom, and having the understanding that yes, there is responsibility that comes with freedom. You need to be responsible. It's like if you go out onto a plot of land and you're going to go, live on that land for the rest of your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just mismanage the topsoil and you destroy that topsoil and all the nutrients, and you no longer can grow crops because you decided to keep planting your crops there year round, not doing what you could do to like restore the topsoil's nutrients. You basically destroyed that land, and now you're going to die because you chose not to be responsible with your own actions towards the planet. It doesn't, they can keep throwing this whole Agenda 2030 and 2021 all at us and everything and try to get everything go away. But if people deep down, one, I don't believe that one person will ever admit as not carbon, say as Bill Gates' corporations and all that. So they can go screw themselves.
Yeah.
But I think you get what I'm trying to say.
You're just talking about how basically, the corporations are basically, they're trying to make us feel guilty that human beings are the ones that are messing up the planet, but it's really like the bigger globalists that are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just saw an article the other day talking about how, like, if you think that, like, just sitting there watching TV, they're trying to blame you, like, hey, you watching TV creates carbon emissions. And I was just like, well, you guys are the ones that advertise to that individual to buy that television. Yeah. You're the ones that advertise that kind of behavior.
Yeah,
you guys are the ones that facilitate it.
Exactly. You're the ones that are suppressing the technologies, because there are people that are trying to come out with more technologies that actually integrate with the ecosystem, But those technologies are constantly being suppressed or bought out, or people are being killed, and you know what I mean? So that's where with the whole global warming thing, they try and make it think. They try, if you question the global warming narrative, they try and make it sound like that you don't care about the environment, you don't care about pollution, right? Why don't they talk about pollution? Really, the problem is pollution, right? But they're using semantics. So they're like, oh, if you question global warming, then you don't care about the planet, you're selfish, you're for the corporations. But it's basically what they're doing is they're projecting. Right? Like they don't talk about pollution, where pollution is coming from. You know what's funny? I was thinking about the other day, Cerebral Pisces, is that, they were all gung-ho about these damn straws and how we need to get rid of the straws. But now we have all these masks that are useless that are causing all this pollution. These masks are terrible for the environment. And you see them everywhere now. They're in the street, on the floor, just people, you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, what are they going to do about that? All the mass pollution, right?
Well, I can take this another direction. Just not like we're producing like pollution this way, but like they say they want to take care of everybody and this is all to help everybody. Where were they when the tobacco companies were lying to everybody and the cancer rates were so high because we had no idea cancer was killing us at that time, and we had to have a whistleblower come out of the tobacco companies to tell us that they had studied and knew that their products were not only killing people, but they are paying money to doctors and researchers to not only advertise, say, smoke this.
Yeah.
Your doctor says smoke a cigarette today. Your dentist says smoke a cigarette today will keep the dentist away, right?
Yeah, same shit with the vaccines. Same shit with the vaccines. I actually have some of those 50s commercials, too, that I actually collected that actually show doctors. It'd be like, trust me, I'm a doctor. I smoke Camel. They're so completely safe, And it's funny that people at that time that were saying that cigarettes cause cancer, those are the conspiracy theorists, those are the cranks, those are the quacks, those are the nutters. Same thing with fluoride, right? Now there's evidence to show that, and it's still really not that publicly known, but prestigious universities now have studies showing that fluoride lowers your IQ, and in just common sense, if it's so good for you, if it's good for your teeth, why do we have to swallow it? Right? And why are they putting something in our water supply, something we can't really get away from, without our permission or without doing due diligence on it? That just shows sinister intentions there. Right now they want to put lithium in the water. Get the fuck out of here. If they're not doing that already,
right? They're what they're telling us to do out of medical safety, their unethical treatment, is driving people insane. So now they're saying, and this is like the Bill Gates thing, where he he's like, oh, I'll create a vaccine, and then his vaccine is shoddily made on purpose, and then it has like it'll like mutate. It's like designed to mutate. So they claimed recently, he went over to Africa, poisoned a bunch of people with this false vaccine that actually created a new form of polio. It killed the old form, but it would create a new form of polio. And they were like bragging about it, I think last month, about BBC wrote a whole article on it, and I just laughed. I was like, I bet if I click on give you the little click, if I click on there, I bet I'm going to find out that you're going to put in front of polio some word, because you can't actually claim that he cured polio, because he didn't.
Yeah.
And the CDC and all the WHO and all these different organizations have admitted that, like, yeah, no, actually, there were kids coming down with a new form of polio, and
acute
the cure is
paralysis. Acute anaphylaxis, I think that's what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
You know who did a really good breakdown? I actually, shameless plug, but I actually used this. I used a clip of this in my module in the conspiracy realism course, in the module of medical and science.
Mm-hmm.
What's his face? James Corbett did a really good breakdown of it, because what happened was he actually was answering a question. So one of his viewers was like, "Hey, I talked about this whole polio thing, and my brother sent me this, or my I think it was my nephew or my son sent me this article from Snopes saying that you're wrong." And he was like, "For real, dude? Are you serious?" So then he actually did a really good job breaking it down, and he was saying what they do, which is what they do. They take the most sensational, they take the most maybe sensationalized part of that claim and then amplify it, right? And then they say, oh, these stupid conspiracy theorists, what were they thinking? And then most people, they end there because they don't want to be a stupid conspiracy theorist, and they don't want to, be dumb. So they'll kind of submit just by the fact that, what do they use, that appeal to ridicule or something like that? One of the fallacies they use, appeal to ridicule. They ridicule you to make you feel stupid for even questioning that. But then he actually went deeper, and he found the studies actually from India, doctors in India, talking about and showing how they compared the rate of polio vaccines with the rate of polio that was actually going on. And he was able to prove that actually, they it was like 640,000 children that they paralyzed by the polio vaccine in some incredible amount. And they've kicked them out of India. But now if you look for you have to go through different avenues to find this information, because of course if you just Google, did the Bill Gates Foundation cause polio, it's going to be like Quack Watch and Science-Based Medicine and fucking Snopes. And they're like, no, you stupid conspiracy theorists. Like, why would you ever even think that? But, and they've scrubbed the Indian online newspapers that talked about that too. They've scrubbed those from the internet. So you don't think, people also don't think that these people that are doing these evil things, you don't think they have the money to buy off people and to scrub information? They're ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah, they think they're just going to let this, their PR, their bad PR stay up there. No.
Well, that's how you gotta, like, you're absolutely right. It's all about our image, and so these people can pay, you're right, they know people that can not only erase things on the internet, but they can go back in, they can contact, like, say BBC. I think Bill Gates Melinda Foundation actually gave all of our media, like, a certain amount of money this year, like to CNN, to CBS. It doesn't matter which ones, but they were giving a good amount of money to give him advertising space. And then he would go on and do these quote unquote interviews, and they'd make it look like it's an interview, and it was all about advertising.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to be like, I'm going to coddle you. Like, look how genuine and loving I am. I've only, made Monsanto more powerful, and, but.
Yeah, look at my sweater that I'm wearing. My nice sweater that, I'm a nice guy, right? And, the fact that people don't even know the history of Bill Gates, that he stole his technology, and then, he didn't even create the system that he's allegedly, supposed to be the inventor of. He didn't create shit. He stole it. And then, on top of that, they had to break up his company. And then after all that fiasco happened, he reemerged as this philanthropist. But as I'm doing in my other module that I'm working on now, The next one I talk about philanthropy as a cover and how philanthropy is used by a lot of these people with money to make them look like they're doing good things. So they give their money to all these organizations, right? And like whether it usually it's school, education, science. Now when they give a lot of money to those institutions, then they control those institutions. So they can suppress any information that they don't want to get out, and they can also push forward any propaganda they want to get out. And it's funny because I notice people, that call us conspiracy theorists, they'll say the same shit about Trump, but they'll talk about how evil he is because he's a billionaire, but yet they support Gates and Warren Buffett and all these other people who are billionaires as well. But they don't think they're doing evil shit with their money. Like, get out of here, you know? Oh, they're billionaires too. So you're gonna say that all billionaires are evil because they're billionaires? I don't believe that. I don't believe just you're evil just because you're a billionaire. But I believe that, like, when you do have that amount of money, you do have the power to, wield things toward your liking or your interest or your agenda. Like, it's common sense.
The more intelligent and the more hardworking you become, like say you are a hardworking individual. I mean, I want you to like think about it. Most people that would be consciously working all the time to like make that amount of money, if they were working all the time, they'd be so busy and out of their mind. I mean, certain CEOs that become like multimillionaires were in at least the 90s were doing like methamphetamine and other drugs to keep up with their workload because their overlord tech lords like Bill Gates were really just like kicking back. They just hire everybody to do everything for them, right?
Yeah.
So, but you got to imagine what kind of appetites that kind of like gets. And I mean, we know that some of these people were already depraved. I mean, Bill Gates' family itself, like, they paint him like you said, as this cliche person that built everything up like he was just like, he was a prodigy. Look, he dropped out of college and just built this amazing company. And it's like, if you go back and look at them and look at their money and what they were all involved in and how the Gates company is heavily involved with Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
And several other things. And then they're tied in with Bain & Co., who controls them, essentially. I don't know if you've looked into Bain & Co.
No, I haven't.
They're a Really Graceful. You'll have to use
I love Really Graceful. I love Really Graceful. I use one of her clips in my thing. Yeah, she's great. I love her.
I love her.
Yeah.
She did a whole thing on Bill Gates and on the Bain Co. I highly recommend like checking it out because
I saw that one. Maybe that just went over my head, though. I did see that one that she did on Bill. I think she did two, right? And then I think
it became like a four-part series.
Oh shit! Okay, so I just saw two of them. Yeah.
Because but it was really interesting because she all they've been involved in, and it's like we can go in and talk about Monsanto and how they were developing all these chemicals and killing people, and then. And such, but then you look at what ore these people have got their tentacles in, and like you look at the Rothschilds and how they bought the whole medical system.
Oh yeah, and the Carnegies and the Rockefellers too. They all have their hand in that.
And the Rockefellers, yeah.
And the Carnegies
the Rockefellers accessory.
And it's crazy because it's like oh shit, what was I gonna say? You were talking about oh shit, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, they did. They bought all this stuff. Even education, Bill Gates, he owns like 500,000 shares in Monsanto. He owns shares in Pearson Education. He was all over Open Court. Why are these people? You have to ask yourself too. Why are they pushing these education systems that they themselves don't even participate in? That their children don't participate in. His children aren't doing Open Court shit. They're not. But they're pushing it on us.
You're talking about like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates both said straight up, we will not give our children technology until a certain age because we know what it does to your brain.
Yeah, I know, and there are other people that have said that. Somebody just comment. I guess you just stopped the timer altogether. I guess I need to get to other calls.
I'm sorry, I'll get off.
No, it's okay. Like let me let somebody else call in. Anyway, thanks for calling. Yeah, sorry. Have a great day. 512-481-7464. 512-481-7464. 512-481-7464. No, dude, it's my fault. I need to cut people off. But then like I said, I'm struggling with that because I feel like somebody will call and then I'll start the timer, and then they'll get into something really deep, and I don't want to cut them off, you know. Um, but okay. Anyway, 512-481. Yeah, that's what Jenny was like. I don't want your call-ins because you're not gonna cut people off. I was like, but I don't know. I'm still. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing if I get a good caller that's going deep. You know, I don't know. Maybe it might be annoying. But I only saw one other person trying to call in, and now maybe was that you, Missy? And you're like, fuck it, Missy, I gotta go to work. You're like, I gotta go to work. So, all right. So 512-481-7464. 512-481-7464. You know, I can just sit back. I can talk to myself. 512-481-7464. Hello?
Hey, Virstyne.
Hey, is this Missy?
This is Missy D. How are you?
Good. Finally, we meet. What's going on?
I know. Oh, not a whole lot. I got to run my kiddo to she's got to go to the baby doctor, but it's for diabetes. She's type 1 diabetic.
Oh, man. I'm sorry. How old is she?
Yeah. She's 18 and a half. She'll be 19 in December if we're still on this planet.
Oh, no. Well, you know, do you mind me asking, do you think it was the vaccines that gave her diabetes at such a young age?
You know, when I was young, because, you know, I got pregnant at 19, had her at 20. I do think so. I was a young mom. I was scared. I was a single mom.
Yeah, no, dude.
You know, when they were pushing all this stuff, and I didn't know any of this stuff back then. But for the past probably 10 to 12 years, I've been pretty, you know, savvy to what's going on and paying attention to everything and all this stuff. And, you know, it's just crazy. And you try to tell people some of this stuff, and they're just like, what?
I know.
Isn't it crazy? Like, they think you're lunatics. Like,
they think you're a know-it-all. They think they get mad because you know more than them. They take it personally, like all kinds of things. That's what I have to deal with some of my friends that I've known for years. They'll say like, oh, you think you just know everything. Oh, I'm like, no, I'm trying to tell you shit so you don't have to suffer.
Yeah.
Really, you know, but.
Exactly. And I like to, you know, give them examples, you know, current stuff that's going on or stuff that's happened in the past or whatever. And, you know, try to connect the dots and stuff, and they don't want to hear it, or you know, you're crazy, or
yeah, it's deep.
They don't have time for that right now. You know,
it's deep, dude.
Oh Lord.
No,
it's too deep. You know, I don't know. It's sad.
I mean, you know, but this is how I made peace with it. Like, because of course, when you find out this information, right, that's been deliberately not being told to people, who are the first people you're going to go and tell? The people that you love, your friends and your family, right? And then when they were, when they reject you, it's really painful. But at the same time, I was just like, well, at least I'm at peace with knowing that I told them what I needed to tell them. It's up to them to look at the information, because I think, you know, if I was afraid to tell them because of what they would think of me, then that's my bad, you know? Like, you can't be afraid of what they're going to think of you. You need to tell them, and then whatever they do with the information, it's on them. But at least you told them. You did your part, and that's all you can do, you know? And
that's right.
Yeah, I've had to really, I think within the past few years, I really come to that, because I would be so upset, and I would see my friends getting vaccinated, and I had I knew this couple that, you know, had children, and they were so mad that I was anti-vaxxer and stuff. And one of the guy friends, he was one of my first guy friends that actually had a kid, and I went to wish him a happy Father's Day, and I saw that he unfriended me, and I was so hurt, you know. But then it was so funny, and he's so diligent about like every year getting his flu shot and everything, and then like at the end of that year, he got a demyelation disease. And I'm like, I bet you it's from the vaccines, because that's what they do. They can eat away your myelin sheath. So he had like a stroke, and he was only like 35, and he had all this demyelation shit going on. And I was just like,
oh my Lord.
And I tried.
Well, while we're talking right now, I was just going to say real quick, it's kind of off topic, but I know you guys are probably going to, I know for sure you and probably a lot of people are going to be like, oh yeah. So there's these freaking random numbers just calling my phone just all the time, And now it's they have the Michigan area code. They try all these different ways and stuff, and I know that the tracers have been doing that, and telemarketers and stuff, but I don't think this is telemarketers. This is absolutely craziness. So they'll call from other states, they'll call, I'm in Michigan, so they'll call with the Michigan area code, and I just don't answer it because I'm like, if it's really important, I'll leave a message. Yeah, but I just got another one while we're on the phone. Huh? Go figure.
Yeah. I don't answer any phones that I don't recognize the number to.
No, because those psychos are they're up to some evil stuff, man. They they got the tracers and things like that, trying to contact you. Oh, you've been in contact with someone, blah blah blah. I'm so sick of this whole crap.
According to their, I'm sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
No, you're saying you're so sick of this crap, then what?
Oh yeah. I'm so sick of this whole thing, man. My husband, he drives a truck, and I was with him last week. We went to Pennsylvania. So we had just come into Pennsylvania out of Youngstown, Ohio, and literally we just came there. It was like the first truck plaza, like rest area. You can stop and go to the bathroom and get something to eat or whatever. And I kid you not, at the front entrance, like we had just pulled up, at the front entrance there's this huge sign. It's a freaking construction sign. The kind they have that, like right out in the middle of the road, that tells you about a detour coming up, road work or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Huge construction sign in the front, like when you first go in the doors, like the entrance, that said no mask, no entry. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, do you think the sign's big enough? You think maybe we might need a bigger sign? Like maybe we can't see this light here, these flashing lights. Like. I took a picture of it. I was like, and I sent it to my sister. She's down in Tennessee. But what I wanted to say real quick, I got a boogie here, and I'm going to have to take her to the appointment and stuff. I have to get ready. But I really feel like, my sister's in Tennessee. I'm in Michigan. The Holy Spirit's really been speaking to both of us lately. And we've always been Christians, we've always believed, even as kids. We've not been perfect, we didn't always go to church and things like that. But we knew God at a young age, and we really feel like Jesus is coming back soon, like the rapture's coming. People that are looking for him, people that are ready, people that are, doing good, they've let their sin go, they're waiting for him. We're the bride that he's coming back for. God has literally stopped time for us, literally. Like for 5 hours one night, I kept looking at my clock. I thought my clock was broke. And they say, I've heard that when you get the Holy Spirit, because we were just, piggybacking off each other, different questions here and there about everything going on. And I really feel like he is coming back soon. I don't want to, put a date on it, but Tabernacles is coming up here. It's actually started, I think it started the 2nd, and it goes to the 9th, I believe, the Jewish holiday, and we have, the Feast of Trumpets and all that. But I really feel like he's coming back because as much as they're pushing this shot for us, and, the talk about having the military just distribute it and all that very powerfully and things like that, I love our president, and I plan on voting for him if I'm still here on this earth, come election day. But I'm not for this vaccine. I don't believe in it. I really believe it's the mark that they talk about in Revelations, because without it, and they're saying that everyone is going to have it, and maybe 2 doses, but without it, you can't travel. You can't have medical attention. You can't go to the store. You can't, you cannot buy, sell, or trade, and that's the mark.
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a war if they really implement it like that, because most people don't want to take it. I think some people will capitulate.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, it's going to be, but I don't know.
People aren't going to watch their family members and loved ones being drug off to some undisclosed location that they're talking about.
Yeah.
FEMA camp.
For a vaccine for a disease that has a 98% success rate. Survival rate. So it's like, why are we even needing this vaccine? Like, it's like, why, even the flu shot doesn't even, even most people don't even take the flu vaccine. They're actually doing trials.
My mother-in-law did. just
What?
recently, and I told her, I said, please don't do that. I said, please do not do it. I heard they were putting it in the flu shot.
Yeah.
I told her they're even counting the flu cases as COVID. Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't want to believe it. She listens to all these different news people. She doesn't even listen to Fox, and I'm not saying they're the greatest, but
Yeah.
at least you get somewhat of the information. You know what I mean? She just doesn't want to hear it, and I'm like, well, did you hear that the numbers came out and they said like only 6%, of the people that had it died, and it was pre-existing conditions or something like that. Like the numbers were way off from what they told us. And my sister's in Nashville, Tennessee. Well, I don't know if you heard about that. You probably did, but the mayor just got busted. I guess the advisor there to the mayor with a flippin' email that said from the health department that the cases were so low that they didn't even want to report it. Due to, as far as restaurants and bars and stuff like that with the contractions of COVID, that it was so low they didn't even want to do it. Well, they still posted it anyway, and the mayor is still in office.
Oh, well, like the world,
You know?
no, dude, I believe you. I haven't heard about that, but the World Health Organization basically came out and said asymptomatic transmission is rare. But even take into account that the fact when they came out and said that, they didn't have any scientific evidence to back that up. They were just basing that on assumption, right? So they're just basically trying to get people to believe if they're healthy, they're still sick. Now, granted, the World Health Organization comes out and says this, admits this, yet they're still putting commercials on TV. The propaganda, right, is getting stronger, saying that, oh, if you have COVID, if you might have COVID and not know it, and you're passing it on to a loved one. You can pass it on to a loved one. So the propaganda is still lying, but the facts are out. But what's really controlling people and controlling this narrative is the propaganda. And to me, that's very, very creepy. And it's just
it is, and it's sad because there's very, very few places that I can go to and get away with not wearing a mask, and it's nice to have that option still. But in Logan, Ohio, I think it's Logan, Ohio. I'm from Dayton, Ohio originally, and I've still got family there. And I seen a video, I'm sure you did too, of the lady that was sitting in the bleachers to watch her kid's football game. It was like elementary school, maybe middle school, but I think it was elementary. And she's sitting in the bleachers off to herself. No one's around her. She's not wearing a mask. All of a sudden, here comes a staff member. I assume it's maybe the assistant coach, somebody that works at the school. Got a mask on, looks like a freaking Nazi.
Yeah.
And then here comes a cop, and tased her. He had to tase her because she's like, no, what are you doing, and she was resisting, She wasn't getting violent, but she was resisting, like, what are you doing? Get off me. Like, are you serious? You're going to take me to jail for not wearing a mask? Anyway, they took her off after they tased her. This was in Logan, Ohio. I believe it's Logan. And I sent the video to my dad. I said, look at this. Look at this. It's been going on in all these other countries, Australia, New Zealand, Sweden, Europe. I mean, they've been invaded. They've been infiltrated. We already seen what's happened to them. We don't want to be them, but we're the last sovereign nation to fall.
Yeah.
And that's their whole plan.
Yeah.
I truly believe all this is prophecy. It's all biblical. It's just a matter of how long are we going to be here, But I do believe, God has really been speaking to me and my sister like never before. And I just keep getting these signs. He keeps telling me, and I'm just reading my Bible, and I'm just trying to be a better person. If I can lay these cigarettes down, that's the only.
Oh, girl, I heard that's so hard
right
to
now.
quit. I heard that's so hard to quit. But not
It
just
is.
not as a moral judgment.
About a week without cigarettes.
Oh no, man.
It was so bad. It was so bad. I mean, literally, I was having physical withdrawals. Like, I was super snappy. I had dizzy spells. Like, it was horrible. And then I just started, slowly, a little bit here and there, and then I would hide them so they wouldn't be right in my face, and I have to look at them. But yeah, that's another thing.
Not only do cigarettes take your physical health away, but they also take money. They're expensive, right? It's an expensive habit. So
yeah, I could save so much money if I could. I smoke Marlboro too, so they're like $7 something a pack.
Oh my God! Well, I hope you're able to quit that, because that would be really transformative for you. As far as I watch so many friends struggle.
I've prayed. I've done a lot. It just really comes down to the decision. Like, I feel like if I can maybe smoke like 1 in the morning when I get up, if you first get up for the day, with your coffee.
Yeah.
Maybe like 1 in the afternoon. If I could do that and just try to wean myself off, but this cold turkey stuff is not for me. Like I was psychotic. Like the good thing I'm not working right now. My husband works. My daughter's working. But so it's not a huge thing, but I definitely need to quit. It's not good for me. I've been smoking for 20 years since I was 18. Well, I guess, 20, I'm going on 21 years now because I just had a birthday. But
you sound so young.
Yeah.
You sound so young.
That's what everybody says. And then they say I look young too, but I don't think so. I think I've got the crow's feet because I've been smoking for so long. But
oh, well, girl, I hope you can quit, man. I hope you can quit. I'll pray for you, and I'll put that energy out there tonight that you can quit.
Yeah. Pray
Smoking.
for me. Yeah, that would be really great. And, I do a lot of fasting and stuff, but sometimes I just won't eat, until later on in the afternoon and the evening. I get busy doing stuff or whatever. But I'm also, getting things prepped up, for whoever's going to be here, once we're gone, once we're taken in the rapture. I really do believe in the rapture. Some people believe in the pre-trib, and then there's I think mid-trib and then post or whatever.
Do you think people, I don't know, I mean, I don't know, I haven't read the Bible a lot, but I do believe that people are going to disappear, because I was listening to somebody talk about that, and they don't think, their interpretation, they're like, well, I don't think people are going to disappear. I think people are going to it's going to be more of a consciousness thing, You think people are going to physically disappear?
I mean, I could be wrong, because me and my sister have been trying to figure this out, the whole glorification and then the 10 days of glorification and things like that, where basically I think you still have the same body, but you're protected. You're protected by God, and you're able to go up to heaven, and you're able to come back down to the earth, and you're able to, the people that are left behind, because we're going to have, friends, family, neighbors, people that we know that are left behind that were Christians, but just didn't have everything ready, or were not waiting, for him. And so we'll be able to come back and, maybe we'll be able to walk through walls and go through the dimensions, heaven and then earth. But I do think, from what I understand, we're going to vanish. Just like that movie Left Behind, you can't take anything with you physically. So I think we'll actually vanish. It talks about in the Bible.
So is it like dying? Like you die?
Well, and that's something I'm still trying to figure out too. Me and my sister are still trying to figure this out. Because it seems like we're going to be caught up, which means rapture, which means taken. So I don't think death is going to be a part of that. But then again, there's another verse too where my sister, we were talking about the fowl of the earth, so the birds would be able to eat the flesh. But I don't know if that's for us or if that is for Armageddon, for the second coming, when Jesus comes back and we come back with him to fight Satan and his army, cast him in the lake of fire, and then, God starts everything again. We have a millennial reign, and, everything's changed and stuff. So I'm not really sure about that. I kind of wonder about that too. But I just know that we're going to be taken, and the
we'll see.
Of an eye, we'll be up out of here.
There's definitely
I think that's going to be what God talks about. When he talks about, he will, what is the exact words? He will keep us from that great hour of testing that comes upon the whole world. And I think that's what that is. That's the main part of it right there. Matthew talks about it, Matthew 24, basically all of Matthew, I believe, and Revelations. There's some other ones too. I think Titus is one of them, but no doubt. I have a bird clock, right? And every hour, a different bird sings a little tune or whatever, right? Well, my 7 o'clock hour is the mourning dove, okay? The mourning dove is supposed to represent the Holy Spirit, like the Holy Spirit's with you, God's with you. Well, I have them all in my yard all the time, and Sister has them all the time, and never really thought about it because I didn't really know what they meant. Well, at 10 o'clock a.m., 10 p.m., 5 a.m., and 5 p.m., my clock goes off. with that sound. It's only supposed to go off on that sound at 7 o'clock. That's never happened before. I feel like that's another significant thing. There's so many things. There's so many signs, so many things that that God has. I'll sit down and get ready to read the Bible, and I'm like, okay, where should I start? What should I do? And I'll just turn to some random page, and sure enough, it's something that's been on my mind. It's like God led me there, But yeah, it's. I'll just tell you, and we're also the fig tree generation. I was going to tell you that too. Fig tree generation, 70 to 80 years. We are that generation. And God says, I'm trying to remember the exact quote, but he says in the Bible something about all of these things will happen. He's going to come back. There'll be a great falling away, and then the revealing of the Antichrist, something like that. Well, the Jews have already said they've met with the Messiah. Well, they didn't meet with Jesus, so who did they meet with?
I don't know. This is I'm letting you speak. This is just interesting. I don't know a lot about this stuff, so I just kind of like listen and be like, oh wow, that's interesting.
And I didn't either. But read, like when you get the Holy Spirit and things like that, which I've only had a couple times in my life. Literally, me and my sister were piggybacking off the Bible. I mentioned a topic, and then she started looking it up, and then she mentioned something, and then I started looking, and we were just piggybacking. I mean, like for 5 hours one night, like time stood still. I kid you not. We've been watching the signs in the heavens, the sun, the moon, the stars. My stepson, his mom is Jewish, and he was at work. I just thought I'd throw that in. It's significant. She's Jewish. But he was at work. He works at a factory, and he took a picture of the sun one day. The sun, I kid you not, was blood red. Now, now the moon is supposed to be blood red once we're taken, the moment we're taken in the rapture. The moment we're taken, the Antichrist is going to be coming after people, the people that are left here. He's going to try and get us, okay, but we're going to be taken up at that time. That's the great hour of testing that's coming upon the whole world. And I believe that's when the mark's going to be instituted. But yeah, the sun is going to turn black as sackcloth. The moon will turn red as blood. But I've been watching the moon. I've been watching the sun. There's 2 orange stars. I know this sounds really bizarre, but they're like orangish, yellowish, kind of more of an orange color, bright stars, a couple of them out in the sky, right, at night. And I'm looking at them at night, and they look nothing like the other stars. The other stars are white, they're small, they kind of look normal, but it's just 2 in particular. And I was listening to a guy earlier this morning that I listened to, he's former Army. He said he's seen one of those orange stars, and I've never mentioned this to him before, one of them fall today.
Jeez.
So, yeah, because, once we're taken, the devil's going to fall down, and he's going to bring his demons with him. And I've also heard a lot of talk about Halloween, October 31st, the witches opening up the bottomless pit. Great. With all the child sacrifices. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's what, 3 days before Election Day? What frick?
I'm supposed to release my music that day, but I'm like, okay. Hey. But anyway, let me let you go, Missy, because I need to take some more calls, but...
Okay, yeah, I'm glad I got to talk to you.
Yeah, finally. Thank you so much. I know, first time I heard your voice. Yeah, nice to talk to you, though. I hope you, I'll pray that you can quit smoking, because that's something that needs to happen, for sure.
Yes, I know. I can't breathe nowadays, so.
Yeah.
It's not good. All right, Virstyne, you take care. Okay. God bless.
You too.
I'll be tuning in tomorrow, okay?
Okay, cool. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Orange Star bad. All right, 512-481-7464. 512-481-7464. Oh my God. I know I rub my nose too much. My dad used to say, oh, you do that too much. You got to quit those quirks. I'm like, I know. I had a friend. We became friends later, and he was like, I thought he goes, I was going to ask you, like, if you knew where to get Coke. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, man, I thought you did cocaine because you were always, like, sniffing and, like, rubbing your nose. I was like, I have allergies, dude. He was like, oh, yeah. He was like, that's disappointing. I was like, oh, my God. So, fuck, CERN. I know, dude. All right, 512-481-7464. 512-481-7464. I got 40 minutes. I've been averaging about here we go. I've been averaging about 20 minutes a call. Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Who is this? Hello? Hello? Is this? Okay. I think that was the wrong number. Or they were unsure. 512-481-7464. 512-481-7464. V hates smokers. I don't hate smokers. I just recognize it's such a hard. It's like most of my friends started smoking from the time they were 13, 14. Somebody's calling. Hello? And it's a hard habit to break. Hi, how are you? This is Truth and Talk. Did you call before and you weren't sure who you called?
I did, and my phone was kind of cutting out. Dang it, I'm going to have to redial it. Hi.
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Julie. I was in the chat earlier.
Oh, hey, Julie D, right? Something like that?
I think I'm just Julie in there.
Okay. Maybe I saw the D.
know.
I don't know. What's up, girl? How are you?
I'm good. I called in. Well, I'm just kind of like frazzled and upset and disheartened by the state of everything that's going on. I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse an RN since '95.
You work hard.
I'm sorry?
I said you work hard. You're a hard worker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. I'm in shock that I don't have more fellow nurses out there that know better, that are not standing up and saying more about the baloney masks. And like, I can even excuse the younger nurses because you know what? I don't even know. I sometimes am iffy on some of the training they're getting.
Yeah.
But the old ones, I know what paces we were put through. I know how in depth into microbiology it went. You know what I mean? I know darn well they know better. They know better, and they're not saying anything. I'm so upset. My granddaughter is 5. She's in kindergarten. My daughter pulled out 4 of her little masks out of her book bag. Every one of them has blood where the nose holes are for the nostrils. These kids are in these little masks all day long.
Yeah.
And she called the pediatrician to say, hey, what can I do? Because she at least wanted to see if she could get her switched to a face shield. And they didn't want to do that because the school said, no, you can't do it without a doctor's excuse. I'm just sitting here in shock. I'm sitting here in shock. I've watched this whole COVID crap go down. I'm watching fellow nurses that I know better. They know this isn't how it works. That this is garbage. Some of them, they were like, oh, I'm a hero. You know, they bought all into that. And I'm like, okay, you were already like that. You know, you just attention seeker. But not some of these nurses. I'm just shocked. And I'm afraid to say much about it on Facebook.
Because you want to keep your job.
I already don't politically say much because I've had too many arguments over, I don't want that. But you've got to be careful. I work for a big hospital, and you can't just go and say that. You know what I mean? I'm afraid somebody will report me, or because I'm just a little nervous about it. But I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine that they don't know better. I'm so disheartened and upset with people because I know they know better and they're just not saying anything. I'm not saying COVID isn't real. I exposed myself to it twice. My sister,
but whatever it is, it has a 98% survival rate. So why are people scared?
Right.
You know what I mean? Why it's if you believe that it is.
My sister was constantly fevering. I sat right next to her on her bed because, I went to take care of her. She's my sister. I did not wear a mask. I did not wear a glove. For God's sakes, it's ridiculous. But I did it 2 days, well, one day apart, like 2 times during her illness. I didn't catch anything. I wanted to catch it because, to me, I'd rather catch it in the summer than the winter because I have comorbidities. So it'd be easier for me to catch it in the summer if I'm going to catch it. like you're thinking about the chicken pox. You know how your parents exposed you? Yeah, everybody did that back in the day. But so I kind of did the same thing with COVID, and I never caught it. And the only thing I take is what I take every flu season. I take zinc and vitamin C.
And then now they're saying that that's what actually helps you survive. But that goes back to the terrain, right? So if you're putting the right stuff in your body, no matter what virus you come across, your body be able to fight it off. People that are having, that are dying allegedly from COVID, all of them have comorbidity conditions. So they already had some illness before. They're not just getting COVID and dying. If you believe that the virus even exists. But if you believe that the virus even exists, then even in that narrative, the people that are dying, like my cousin, I told you my cousin got it, but he had 2 heart attacks and a blood clot. He wasn't just healthy and then got it and became sick, and he's fine as far as I know, knock on wood. But it's probably because they've been testing anybody too that's been coming to the hospital. They've been giving them a COVID test, and then tests get false positives. So then they're going to be like, oh, you're already sick and you have COVID. Oh my God. So they should also put it together then. If this is the case, then everybody's just going to get it. It just baffles me too, just common sense. You can't contain a virus that's super microscopic. You can't, you'll never be able to, it's so small.
Virus so small it can infect the bacterium, for peace sake.
Yeah.
And these crazy bastards think their little masks
are gonna do anything.
Covering gonna help.
I was working at this one hospital before I got fired, and they would always have these roly polies come in, and I'd just be thinking they can't even stop these roly polies from coming in. The little bugs that are really small, maybe as long as a dime, but they. You touch them and they roll up into a little ball. The roly polies. I know. Potato bugs? Is that what you call them?
That's what we always. Yeah.
Oh yeah, roly polies. I don't know. Yeah, different places call them different things. But I'm just there were these roly polies all in the lobby, and I'm just they think they could stop a virus from coming. These people are it's so nonsensical that, and there's millions of different types of viruses all over the earth, and there have been since before the medical industry, and we still survived. And I guess people are buying into the narrative that that this is an advanced virus because they've made it in a laboratory, but there's really not, from what I've seen, there's really no proof of that. It's just hearsay, and then if you understand how our immune system works.
Might be actually of quality is that it has a protein spike in it, like AIDS, and that supposedly is why it's more contagious. However, I'm really beginning to wonder.
Well, I'm not trying to my understanding is I understand that the whole HIV thing is all basically I'm not saying I've had friends that have died of AIDS. There's a whole controversy within the science community as to whether HIV even causes AIDS. There are people that just think it's a passenger virus, pretty much like COVID, that, you can get it, but it's not going to affect you. There are other things, if your terrain isn't together, it's going to affect you. I'm sorry, maybe it's too much, but that's a whole nother. If you ever have time to look into Peter Duesberg's work and to look in the whole fiasco between Luc Montagnier and Robert Gallo and Anthony Fauci, I think that would blow your mind. And what happened too with when HIV was going on, there were actually a bunch of scientists that believed that it was an immune system breakdown caused by other things, not a virus itself. And he basically scrapped that information because what that meant is if it's not a virus, you can't prescribe any medications or vaccines for it. So if it was something else that could be handled by human beings on their own and not with medication, they didn't want to have anything to do with it. Yeah, I did
I know a little bit of that Dr. Fauci was around back in the day with the HIV. and it was mismanaged, but I have never read, never went into deep dive on that.
I did a presentation. I don't know if the video's still up because they've been taking video, but I did a video presentation talking about it. If you want to email me, I can like send that to you and I can send you some information on it. But I guess my frustration, and I'm not saying like this is the thing too, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm not saying that I know more than a doctor or know more than a nurse, but I have, done research where I have read other doctors and nurses and scientists who have alternative viewpoints and kind of compare their viewpoints and their research to the stuff that we're being told. And it just makes more sense to me than the stuff that we're being told, and the stuff that I've researched kind of, it leaves people empowered and doesn't leave them in a state of fear. And I kind of think what you're experiencing from what you're telling me with other people not standing up is that they're very scared. Either A, they're scared, B, I've had 3 of my great aunts were RNs. And before any of this stuff even happened with AIDS and COVID or not AIDS, maybe I think it was, but COVID and all this stuff. This was like maybe 10 years ago before the last one of them died. I remember sitting around as a kid listening to them talk about a lot of the stuff in medicine that they thought was BS too, about how doctors and how scientists approach certain things and gave them certain protocols to do, but because they were nurses, nobody respected their personal experiences and what they experienced with their own patients,
Right.
And I don't know. I think, maybe, like you said, because maybe it's fear, like people don't want to speak out because they're afraid, they don't want to think that they're doing wrong. I know that the medical industry is the 3rd leading cause of death. I would say probably even higher than that, but it's because of the whole like bureaucracy. I believe it's because of the whole following orders and not critically thinking. It's costing people's lives.
Yeah. And I'm just like in utter disarray because nothing else matters now. Literally, you can have your arm falling off. You can have all sorts of things going on, but the only thing that anybody cares about is this flipping COVID.
Oh, no, I know. No, I was...
mental health, making people go into the hospital, very sick elderly people, and their spouse can't be there with them? Come on.
I know. That broke my heart. I watched that go down. I watched that because I would have to go one of my routes. I'd have to go. Well, actually, 2 of my routes. I had to go through the emergency room every day. And there was this older guy with his wife, and he was like almost in tears. He was like, "But she's not well, and I can't be with her." They're like, "No, sir, I'm sorry, it's COVID." I'm like, "Y'all are fucking heartless," And I've actually talked to different people too. There was this one couple that I talked to. The guy's brother was in intensive care, and they would only let them go in one at a time to visit him. And then there was this other guy, he was dying. This lady's husband was like literally dying, and his kids were there, and they would only let them go in one at a time. Meanwhile, the hospitals are still empty, right? Otherwise,
Right.
So they're not being overwhelmed with COVID patients. So that's just infuriated me like to no end. And even kids, kids go like being like dying alone or not dying, because they're and I'm just like, but there's nobody in the hospital. I sat by and watched them have a parade with all these virtue signaling narcissists about how the doctors and nurses are doing a good job. And I'm like, I just left that hospital and half the staff's been laid off and there's nobody in the hospital. Yeah, they're having this parade. It's so weird. And then, what else was I going to say? Yeah, I just, there was this lady, like a couple days before I got fired. She was like, "Do you work at this hospital? At this hospital?" She was going off of me. And I'm like, dude, I don't, like, what are you talking about? And she looked sick. Like, her eyes were watery. She was, like, sneezing. Like snot was coming out her nose. And she's like, I've been sick for days. But, like, I went to the emergency and they won't even let me in because, they're saying that they're keeping it, open for the COVID people. And I'm like, dude, there's nobody even in there. Like, this is madness.
When in your lifetime have you ever heard of such a thing? When have you ever heard of sick people are not allowed to come to the ER? That is what was happening.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere, because even at my hospital, we were hemorrhaging money. closed down all the elective surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if patients were too scared. I don't know, but I work on a general med floor, and we were hemorrhaging money because the admits were gone. I'm like, where is everybody? What in the hell is going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was funny. I got into it with one nurse because I was just like, so when is the second wave? It doesn't look like it's going to come. And they were like, oh, yeah, it's coming, it's coming. I was like, I don't think so. And it like never came. He's like, oh, it's coming in 2 weeks. 2 weeks passed. I'm like, yeah, it's still not here yet, dude. I don't know. I'm like, you're saying it like you want it to come. You know?
They do. They're whack.
You know?
Nurses are wacko. I'm serious. I'm like so.
Well, I think, you know,
they're more excited that they're getting extra attention or something. I don't know. And I think it's like not having all the families there. If I, just to be blunt and honest, I think it's just one less person to deal with.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sad that they're not saying anything. That more nurses that know better are not saying anything. I'm shocked.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fear. It's fear, and then of course, as a nurse, there's some nurses that have their power trip, that I would get into it with this. I got into it a couple times with this one male nurse, and he just thought he was God's gift, and I was like, no, you're actually a moron. Like I just, because I would always, and I would just ask him questions. I wasn't even trying to harass him, but I was just like, well, why aren't we wearing hazmat suits instead of these paper thin masks? And he was like, let me talk to you outside. He like took me outside like I was a teenager for even just asking him that simple question.
Right.
But then
dangerous. What do you do? What are we doing out at the store anyway? If it's really that dangerous, why are we allowed to go to grocery shopping?
Yeah, I mean, just simple stuff, right? Like,
why are we allowed to have babies and kids out if it's really that?
Yeah, why we only, some places have a curfew? I'm like, does the virus only come out at night? Why do we have to have our mask up when we go in the waiting area of a restaurant, but we can take it down when we eat? Like, is it polite and just waits for us to finish eating? Why are the homeless people still alive? It should have wiped them out because they weren't wearing masks or social distancing or using hand sanitizer. Where the biohazard bins? Right? Virologists deal with deadly diseases. They wear hazmat suits. Like all these common sense things that people aren't thinking about. But I really just think that people don't want to admit that they've been bamboozled. Really. I think that's a huge thing.
In your regular life, not talking on the internet to people, but in your regular life, what percentage of people do you think that this is just an overblown nightmare? And what percent do you think truly believe this? I'm just curious.
I'm just kind of going through my head. I hate to say this, but I think it is politicized, and I feel like my leftist friends and family members buy into it, and ones that aren't, they don't. And I think, though, just that I'm not saying that the right is always right, so to speak, no pun intended, but I think that kind of being on this side of the equation, you kind of understand propaganda now. You understand lies. You understand how lies are created on a big scale because they've lied about you. You see how, the mainstream media has just straight up lied about people that support Trump. So now you're less likely to believe anything that the media says. And I feel like
I feel the same way you do. I think a lot of people who, like my mother, and oh my God, people who watch the mainstream media a lot and are on the left tend to believe this hook, line, and sinker. And by the way, 6 months into this, they're terrified and still at home.
Yeah.
Won't leave the house kind of thing. And then there's other people who I know they don't believe it, but they won't buck it. They won't buck. My own husband won't buck the mask. I'm like, dude, don't go into the store. Take that mask off. No, I'm not doing it. I'm like, dude, they can't do anything. Take the damn mask off. If people won't stand up, nobody's going to stand up. But
exactly.
If people see us doing it, I don't wear them. I haven't worn them the whole time.
Yeah.
I was into this. The governor said we had to wear a mask. I'm like, you're going to tell us 5 months into a pandemic we have to wear a mask? That's
I know. That's another thing, too. It's like, why did the restrictions get, and they're not people dying in the street. It would be different if people were just keeling over in the street. But no, they're still trying to create this illusion of people dying. And I think, like when I talk about the spiritual war, there's a lot of pride involved, because in order for me to have the views I have now, I had to admit that I was lied to a lot on a big scale. And it's very, it can be very humbling if you want to choose to look at it that way, or it can be very like embarrassing if you have a huge ego. And I think a lot of the people that are buying into this too, they'd rather believe that there's a virus, because I think the fact that there's a whole conspiracy that has basically lied, that has destroyed their business, that have made them homeless. That's more scary to them to believe than a virus. And it also doesn't require them to take any responsibility too, because they can just be like, oh well, it was the virus, so what can I do? I was going to have a successful business, but the virus came. But instead of that, instead of them taking responsibility and being like, you know what, I was lied to, I should have done my research, I should have looked for alternative information, and I just stayed home and I took it and let these people lie to me, like that. It takes a strong person on the inside. And this is the thing that I've been talking about too, about like how the spiritual war is, I feel like the propaganda and the mainstream media really hook into the lower vibration of people and their, whether it's their insecurity, whether it's their shame, whether it's their anger, and it uses this to control people and to manipulate people, via
Absolutely.
fear. So I think
Absolutely.
that's what it is. And I gather you must be very lonely in your situation, especially if you feel like you're one of the only people that sees through this. So I feel bad for that.
And I'm sure you know this too, being around medical people. It's a hard spot to be in because they don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
And they look at you like you're the insane one. You're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I've
when I got fired, and I've been telling them the whole time, I was like, look, I have asthma. I'm severe asthmatic. If it's triggered, I've died a couple. I'm like died, not died. I've almost died a couple of times, and I've worked very hard on my health. Like I really work. What I eat, what I put into my body. The supplements I take. I've worked really hard to progress in my asthma. It's not completely over with, but I know that wearing a mask is going to make me more susceptible to lung infections. It's going to reduce my oxygen. And I'm just like not going to do it. And I was even pleading with them. I was like, well, just let me hang my nose out. They're like, no, you have to put it all the way up. And I'm like, but I have asthma. I can die. No, it doesn't matter. Like they don't like you said, I don't give a shit about anything else other than COVID, other than the rules that they've been told. They can't even use critical thinking. And I'm just like, I got to the point. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to, risk my health in order to fit in with you dumbass people.
Awful. I'm with you. I'm just so, like I said, I'm disgusted. I'm disheartened. I just sit here every day and my head spins. Like, when is this going to stop? And are we ever going to be normal again? Like, is anyone ever going to use their damn brain cells?
Yeah.
What are people doing out there? But
and they're waiting for the TV.
I'm scared about. Like, is this really going to? Are people actually going to wake up and wisen the hell up, or are they just really going to do what they're told and wear masks when it's not beneficial to them?
10 years later. Yeah. 10 years later, they'll wait for the TV to tell them it's okay to take it off. Because somebody was even writing to me and they were saying, hey, they've actually made it, they're not doing the mask mandates in Florida, but there's still people that are just wearing it,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I imagine there'll be people here, I'm in Ohio, so I don't know where you're at.
I'm in Texas.
Oh, Texas. Okay. I figured Texas would be really loose.
I know. I've talked to somebody. I'm originally from California. I was born and raised in California, but I thought Texas. I actually go a little bit outside of Austin. I don't know how it is all over Texas, but if you go a lot outside of Austin, people are more lax. But Austin, and I will say, because it's very strongly liberal, they, and I had a friend too that was like, didn't even say that she was a Trump supporter or not, but she was just talking about some of the statistics to one of her friends. And then her friends was like, that's what Trump supporters say. And she's like, I'm not even a Trump supporter. Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm looking at other stuff. So there's also this belief that if you question anything, that you must be a Trump supporter too. So they've tied it into politics, because there's some people that aren't even a Trump supporter, but they're looking at the data statistics, they're using their common sense, and they're bringing it up. So now, there are people that want to believe, oh, we're in this situation because of Trump. One of my friends was like, well, if Trump would have handled his business and closed down or did things like he should have done, then we wouldn't be in this situation, which is a damn lie. But again, it's something that they can blame Trump for and not take responsibility for.
I say when they say that to me, I'm like, yeah. I said, I know. Are you pissed off at Macron in France for all their deaths? Or are you pissed off at so-and-so? I mean, name off other leaders.
Mm-hmm.
All the people in COVID, are you mad at them too? Are they being held? Or is Trump just in charge of globally everybody's death? Is it all Trump's fault?
Yeah, it is. According to them, it is. It is.
I agree with you. That bastard, like, oh my God, did you hear all the deaths in France? That's probably Trump's fault too.
Yeah, but I mean, like that's how people are thinking.
About it.
It's terrible. But I mean, in the end, I just feel like they're gonna lose out. I'm so glad that I don't know if you know, but I started this podcast like 10 years ago before I really put energy into the channel. And I knew a lot of the stuff about the medical stuff because it started with me researching corruption in the medical industry. So I feel like this COVID thing, I was like, I got this. I totally knew all I could see through all the lies. Also they've done this with smallpox. If you read the history too, I mean, I don't want to bore you and go through the whole thing, but they've kind of done this whole propaganda. Now, back then they had newspapers and they had people in royalty, to spread knowledge and to spread information. But it was the same thing. There were also people saying, hey, like, people aren't dying from smallpox. They're actually dying from the vaccines. There were actually frontline doctors back then, like medical doctors that were writing about it in their journals and that were trying to get the truth out, and they were silenced, The information was there, but the information that was pushed to the forefront was people need to get the vaccine because this deadly smallpox is killing everybody. And they actually started they were actually jailing people for not taking the smallpox vaccine. So they were actually jailing people because they noticed that once they got the vaccine that they would actually start to get sick, and people were dying because of the vaccine, not because of the smallpox. And then there was this one town named Leicester, England. It was basically an industrial town, and this is also an information what's coming out that that hygiene was very important, and that the environment that you live in can actually cause you to get sicker. So what they did, they actually cleaned up their town and they just quarantined people, and they were able to defeat the smallpox without a vaccine. And around that time, there was this guy named Alfred Russel Wallace, who was actually the co-discoverer of natural selection, and he basically kept records and stuff and was able to prove this. And he became a strong advocate for the anti-vaccination community around the smallpox. But this is information I've had to search for. Like, you don't know about this stuff. All they tell you is that, I can send that to you if you want to. If you want to email me and just, put your name in the headlines and stuff. But I mean, so I knew this, like, when you started, like, I never really realized how important history is until the last few years, because it's like, if people knew this, then they wouldn't be able to, run these games on people. Same thing, they kind of did the same thing with polio, with the whole, like, diagnostic criteria being very lax. They didn't have a definitive test for polio, so they just said anybody that got paralyzed during that time had polio. But there was another lady by the name of, Elizabeth Kinney, who was a nun who was actually curing people with paralysis via hot baths and just getting them to and detoxing, basically, and getting them to retrain their muscles. And I mean, this was well known at the time. There was, the President Roosevelt invited her to the White House. She had an 80% success rate, okay? Alan Alda credits her for him not being paralyzed after he was diagnosed with polio with her methods. So she was a well-known figure. It's not like people didn't know who she was, but because of propaganda, again, and media went out again, nobody knows who she was. They all talk about Jonas Salk. They all act like the polio vaccine, like, saved the day. It's unbelievable.
Wow. So knowing what we know, all right, because I think you and I are on the same page with a lot of this. So knowing what we know, what do you really think about Trump and now all these cabinet people supposedly close to him are now positive with COVID? Here's my thing. I am having a hard time swallowing it. I'm not saying they didn't get positive. I don't think they got it in a natural form.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, number one, no, they don't wear masks all the time. However, they were all getting tested every day, number one. Number two, when they had to, they wore masks and did the social distancing. Okay, great. That doesn't work. Number three, they knew that there was a virus. So just like any of the rest of us, we're all a little bit more cognizant, wouldn't you say, about what we're doing with our personal hygiene, using hand sanitizer more, blah, blah, blah. So I think that they weren't just like behind closed doors, just, eating and drinking off each other's cups and hacking and, So do you believe, and I hate to be conspiratorial, but
Girl, this is Truth or Talk. This is good.
I'm really suspicious that the swabs that they use were not already had something on it. Why is it just those people are getting it? And it says that, like I said, I sat next to somebody purposefully with the fans blowing from them to me while they were fevering with COVID 2 different days during this person's illness, and I didn't get even a hint of anything. I just have a hard time believing that these people got this naturally. It's either, I think it's false or somebody infected them purposely.
Well,
there's no way. Why didn't anyone else have it?
Well, I mean, I'm not worried about it. Like, it's a 98% survival rate, So it's like, why are people scared? It's basically like the flu. It's flu symptoms or respiratory. They haven't even distinguished the symptoms. So it's you have that factor. You have the factor that the tests give false positives. In that presentation that I did, I talked about the PCR test, but John Rappaport has done a lot of good stuff. I interviewed Dr. Andrew Kaufman. They talk about how the test, they don't look for a virus when they do the test. They test for markers, and these markers that make you test positive could be triggered by you having the flu, having a flu shot, being pregnant, being around animals. There are all these other cofactors that can make you test positive where you don't even have the virus, So, I mean, I think actually it could be a good thing. He could go away and be like, oh, look, I took vitamin C and now I'm fine. So I think, it could be a good thing if he gets it and then he's fine. Then he can be like, well, you know what? Everybody's going to get it. And everybody is, now we have some other therapeutics and stuff that we've been working on. I don't really think it's a bad thing, because then if everybody gets it, then why do we need a vaccine? If everybody's had it, why do we need,
I'll never take their nasty shit vaccine. Sorry.
Me neither. Well, you know me. I'm not going to.
Something going on. Like, I used to do vaccines. I did for my children because, they weren't like 50,000 vaccines in their legs. Mm-hmm. And probably, what I mean, all at one sitting. But what has transpired over the years is baffling. It's scary. And the thing is, I was, in 93, I was 8 months pregnant with my third child, and I got pneumonia, and I was hospitalized. So they told me that every year I need to get a flu vaccine because of this. So I did for the next 20 years, probably. Ooh. No, 18, 17. No, 18. 18 years, I got a flu vaccine every year like a good soldier. And then in 2011, I had a flu vaccine from my current job. I just started there. I had the weirdest neurological symptoms, things I have never had in my life that entire winter. Something was not right. I would be sitting there working. I would get severe pains in my neck. It was terrible. Like, I said, okay, I'm never getting, and there's something wrong with these vaccines. Well, 2 years after that, I was taking classes, and I was talking to another nurse who worked at our sister hospital. And her and 2 other nurses on the same unit got the flu shot, and guess what? They all came down with the Guillain-Barré. And the thing is, that's kind of rare to get anyway, but 3 people on the same unit, that tells me they had a bad lot.
Well,
the thing with vaccines, how are they even making them? How are they developing them nowadays? Are they even being tested properly? There's something not right. Something is not right with these vaccines.
No.
I just...
Well, I don't know.
I don't want to say, hey, I'm anti-vaxxer, but I guess I am an anti-vaxxer. until they fix this nasty system, this corrupt, whatever's going on, there's something not right with our vaccines.
I got something better than vaccines. I know people, when I say this, people think that, it's like witchcraft and woo-woo. But honestly, just making sure that your immune system is in swing is better than vaccines. You don't need any of this stuff. So it's like that. If you think about it, that's what the vaccines are supposed to do, right? The vaccines are supposed to give us a healthier immune system, right? To fight this stuff off. But if we have, just with all of the stuff that we do to our food, whether we microwave it, whether it's processed, whether we're getting, vegetables and that aren't grown in an environment with enough vitamins, getting extra vitamin supplementation, mineral supplementation, it is essential to having our our immune function right. Are you drinking enough water every day? Or are you drinking a shit ton of soda? Are you drinking eating a lot of sugar? Are you eating vegetables? Right. Are you eating processed meat? So all of these things that we're eating in our daily diet, the way that we're fixing our food, is also depleting our minerals, our vitamins, and it also damages our immune system. Are we messing up our microgut biome? Are we getting enough probiotics to balance out our microgut biome? Like, these are things that people understood, which are really simple things to learn, and I really think that everybody should learn. And because I know this stuff now, none of that shit, excuse my language, none of that stuff scares me, right? But I think I think a lot of people, they say this and people are just like confused because you're just like, oh, well, if we don't take vaccines, what do we have? And then people will be like, well, our immune systems. And that just sounds so weird to people. I guess that does, because people are just like, what? Because we've also been brainwashed to believe that our immune systems aren't enough, right? There's this whole battle going on with nature and science, but people forget that science is nature. It's called ecology and biology, right? And that we've completely abandoned that for this vision of this, like, that we are evolving through technology, when in fact I think we're devolving. And now you have, vaccines long term, because of how they grow them on the cells. They not only cause, brain autism, which I would say is varying degrees of brain damage, but it also causes cancer, long term, because these vaccines are not tested long term. The polio vaccine was only tested for 48 hours. They monitored the people for 2 days before they put it out. This is polio vaccine. So I think Gardasil was like 5 days. Like, they don't even, but because it's a biologic, they don't have to undergo the drug trials that regular drugs have to go through. And even those regular drug trials, even after they're on the market, whatever, 10 years, whatever, they still have to be recalled. And there are always lawsuits, against these drugs that they're putting people on. But so you're going to, trust vaccines? And hell no. And then, the vaccine court, you can't sue the pharmaceutical industry directly, but you can get compensation through the vaccine court, which is paid for by the Health and Human Services, which is really hard to get funding. And it takes like 10 years to win, if you can win. But they usually win for the flu shot. And it's because people get the flu shot and they get Guillain-Barré. I don't remember what call-in show that was, but I was showing this caller that called in, like the lawyers that represent a lot of these people on their website, and they show the cases that they won, what vaccine they won for, and most of them went for the flu shot.
Isn't that awful?
Yeah.
I'm just so, yeah. Well, my phone, because I'm one of the last people in America that have a landline, because I thought I have my cell phone too.
My mom has one too, so it's just you and my mom.
I'm on my landline and it's beeping like it's going to die because we don't use it that much, so the battery must be bad. But I want to thank you for your time. I really appreciate you having this program where people can call in. And I've listened to you on and off. I've listened to a lot of your stuff, and I totally agree with you on so much. And I just thank you so much for what you're doing, because you know what? It's just everybody has to chip away at this a little bit at a time, a few people at a time. Hopefully it'll just sink in and more people will wake up.
Yeah. And it's a lot. Like, I get frustrated, and I think I'm frustrated now because I feel like the evil is accelerating and we're on a time crunch. But I had to remember where I was, and it took me a long time to come to this conclusion. It took me a lot of research, and it took me a lot of, I had to piece stuff together. I had to process this information. It's not like this. I came to all this awareness and knowledge that I have overnight. And that's one of the reasons why I do want to, you know, I am doing the course. So maybe if somebody got these basics down, they can piece stuff together faster. But yeah, you know, I do get frustrated at people too, and I have to remind myself, you know, they're not where they are, and if they were, I don't know if you watched The Healthy American Peggy, but she, you know, she was talking about that too, and she was talking about, you know, they're not where you are, and if they were, they would be right with you, and you just have to remember that. And then other times I'm like, these dumbass sheep, like, like I get that, and I was like, God damn, I just want to slap people. Like, come on, we need more of you to wake up so we can actually make an impact, you know?
I agree. Well, my phone is definitely going to die, but thank you so much. And I'll call back in some other time.
Yeah, thank you. You do a good job, too. Thank you for being a nurse. You actually, I talk smack about doctors, but I have more respect for nurses. Huh?
I said thank you for being a truth teller.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, have a good day. All right,
Goodbye.
I'll take one more caller. Bye-bye. I'll take one more caller. I know the taxpayers pay the settlement instead of the vaccine company. The inventor of the PCR test says we are being lied to. Yeah. If you guys ever, Billy Bob says the inventor of the PCR test says we are being lied to. Yeah, if you look up Carrie Mullis, oh, dude, and if that presentation is up, let me see if I can find it. Where is that presentation? Let me see if I can pull it up real fast. That I did. I can pull it up a couple months ago, talking about Anthony Fauci and PCR and all that stuff. I think I actually put a clip of Carrie Mullis in that presentation, he's a Nobel laureate, and he won the Nobel Prize in chemistry for his invention of the PCR. And he's basically saying that the PCR test isn't a good definitive test, and he also talks about like the whole thing of AIDS, and while the testing is a scam and how they're going about it is all about the cure and stuff is all wrong, and how he actually wanted to work in AIDS and he quit. This guy was a cool dude. Like he's a doctor, he's a scientist, but he also, like, after he got his money, because I think when you get the Nobel Prize, you get what do you get? You get money. You get a couple $1 million or so. Okay, here. It's the lecture. So if you scroll down, hold on, let me go back. I'll turn it on so you guys can see. Let's turn it on so you guys can see. La 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 la. How do you? No, dude. I'm trying to. All right. Ay, jai, jai. This is gross. Okay. Anyway, let me go back and I'll see if I can hook this up properly. Oh, this is why. Okay. Let me see if I can go back. Pick it up. Pick it big. Let me see. All right. It's not working like I wanted to, but whatever. Anyway. Okay, so this lecture that I did, I'll move it over, but, oh, come on. Okay, here we go. The history. So just go through my videos. It's entitled The History of Anthony Fauci. Lecture on the history of Anthony Fauci. And it's a little bit boring, I would say, but it's informative. So you can kind of, but I start with this article that this guy wrote, and then I talk a little bit about it. And then this is Luc Montagnier, the co-discoverer of HIV, and he's basically saying that he discovered that HIV could actually be cleared through diet and nutrition. Remind you again, the co-discoverer of HIV. But he's talking about how he's actually tried to bring this up to mainstream scientists, and they don't give a shit because they know that vaccines and drugs cause more money. Makes more money. So we talk about Cox postulates. Oh yeah, this is the guy, Carrie Mullis, who's talking about the PCR test. So if you want to review this, and even fast forward to those links, whatever you want to do just to get information. But this lecture I gave, Anthony Fauci's been around since the 80s, and he's been deceiving people since then. And it basically, once you start putting stuff together, you can see it's the same racket that they're pulling with COVID on a larger scale. This guy is Peter Duisberg. Sorry, my screen is so crooked, but this guy's Peter Duisberg, and Peter Duisberg is a hero, I would say. But he was somebody that was praised for his work as a cellular virologist, and now he's coming back and saying that, oh, I've changed my mind because I found some other information that doesn't add to the narrative, and they completely like destroyed his career. So, yeah, if you can watch that lecture, I think you guys would, it would really empower you with a lot of information, and you can see a lot of the parallels as to what's going on with COVID right now. So, anyway, all right, last one, or wait, what are we doing? Okay. Tony Bark died at a suspicious time as well. Yeah, she had cancer. I was really upset about Dr. Tony Bark dying. Like, dude, I wanted to meet her so bad. I just loved her personality. She was really funny. She had a potty mouth like me, and I love that because she's super intelligent, and but she'd be like, fuck, she just seemed like she had all this energy, and then she got cancer, and I think I don't see why she would go the alternative route. I mean, the mainstream route. But she ended up dying way before her time, and everybody was just kind of shocked about that, because when I heard that she got cancer, I'm like, oh, she's going to be fine. And she ended up not making it. So I don't know what the deal was. I don't know what therapy she took. I don't know. I would like to know more about that. But yeah, I was really upset about Dr. Tony Bark dying. And then sometimes when it's your time, I guess you have to accept that. But I think a lot of people do die before their time because the therapies that they have for these illnesses are BS, and they're also not honest about what causes these illnesses. A lot of these illnesses that we have, that people are dying from, are man-made. So and I'm not talking about like in a laboratory, but I'm talking about as a result of vaccines, as a result of not having a great microbiome, as a result of all these GMO foods, as a result of all of these EMF waves and all this other shit that we're doing to our body that doesn't serve it well. So, yeah. So I've been trying to let go. I'll take one more call. I'm running a little late, but if anybody wants to call, I'll take one more. 512-481-7464. You retracted your messages, David? Jeez, Davis, what were you saying? I've been trying to like watch the chat, because I'll see a message come up and it would say it's blocked, but I'll just like release it. So I don't know. I'm trying not to censor people. I haven't looked into the JonBenet Ramsey case. Have you looked into the JonBenet Ramsey case? I have not. My music is going great. I'm going to release my new single on Halloween. And I'm going to do a crowdfunding campaign for the whole month of November to raise money for my album. So that's why I do these live shows, and then I'm off. I'm doing other stuff. I'm working on the modules for that I'm creating for my course. I'm trying to get those done by the end of October, or maybe the first week or two. And then I'm working on my music, and I'm working on marketing for my music. So all that stuff is just making me, I'm actually feeling a bit overwhelmed at the moment. But I have 2 more days of live call-in shows, and I actually like it. I'm glad I get to talk to people. It's so much fun. But it's draining too, just having, I know I talk, but having to talk for 2 hours straight, it's a bit draining if you're not used to doing it. And then I guess if you have other stuff to do after it, you're like, so. Joan Green, very disheartening since the CDC told us no one is dying yet. We are all punished to save lives. Well, then now, how else shall I give my freedom for the health of others? So selfish am I. I know, right? That's crazy. I'm very impressed by your singing voice. Who is your influences? I mean, who are? Yeah, I'm gonna totally bag on you for your grammar. No, I know what you meant. It's so funny. Yeah, it's hard. You know, when you're typing and stuff, everybody always makes grammatical mistakes. It's fine. I do like Regina Spektor, but I think her influence is probably Tori Amos, which she's, you know, she they're different, of course, but then Tori Amos' influence was Kate Bush. I like everybody, dude. I swear, I like all kinds of music. I like all kinds of people. I mean, just name somebody. I probably like them or am influenced by them. I like a lot of world music. I'm listening to a lot of African music right now. So unless you're into that, you probably don't know Blake Basie, Eric Manana, um, who else? African. This is what I'm listening to. I'm listening to Angelique. I don't know if I'm saying it. Angelique Kadijo. I don't know. I'm listening to a lot of world stuff right now. I like Sona Khobareth. I'm probably butchering these people's names. Benjamin Clementine. He's British. He's black. He's British. I like a lot of old classic rock. Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin. What's the other person? Pink Floyd. Listening to a lot of them. They're definitely truthers. Muse. I don't know. I might do a thing where I'll show you some of the music that I have, and that's probably like 1/20th of the music that I have. I like Soe. I like a lot of Latin stuff. I like they're a Mexican band. They're phenomenal. And I like them even more because they were one of the bands. They were supposed to have a concert in Mexico, and they were supposed to close it down because of COVID. And they're like, nope, we're going to play. And I'm like, damn, that was epic. I wish I was there. I bet you it was one of the best concerts ever. I like Carla Morrison. She's Mexican. Gabi Moreno. She's I think she's Mexican. Mon Fuerte. She's from Chile. Bebe. She's from Spain. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm really getting into a lot of world stuff now. I've always been into that, but I also think that because of what's been going on with this election, I really haven't been tuned into a lot of Hollywood people because, I like electronic stuff. I don't know a lot of electronic people by name, but yeah, I mean, I like a lot of old Motown stuff. I like, opera. I like classical music. I like jazz. I was listening to Sarah Vaughan the other day. Cool. Girl Town, okay. Yoko Kano, Girl Town. All right, does anybody want to call? Because I'm about to bounce. I haven't even eaten yet, you guys. Yoko Kano. Yeah, man, there's so many good music. There's so much good music from all over the world. I like this rapper named Jay Cho, who is I think he's Taiwanese. When I was looking for, I didn't see a lot of music that I liked in Taiwan and Chinese, but I'm always trying to look at some really good Chinese music. Long Dong was this they do like reggae, but they're Chinese. They do reggae. I think that was the name of their. Yeah, man. I mean, I like all kinds of music. She's Guatemalan. Okay, Ricardo Aron. Thank you for Gabriela Moreno. She's dope. She does like blues singing. I don't know, and I guess maybe I'm attracted to that music at the moment so much more than Argona because I feel like they sing with their soul and they sing with their spirit, and I feel like a lot of the pop music now is just very degrading and debasing to the soul. So I just can't really even resonate with it. I can be like, oh, that has a good beat, but then when I hear the lyrics, I'm just like, oh, like, I don't know. Just can't really I can't really get down with dancing to music where it's constantly forcing myself to call myself a bitch and a hoe. I just can't. I feel like I understand how that stuff works right now, and it's like once you know that stuff, you can't go back to sleep. Like I used to like that stuff a lot, but not as much anymore because I'm just like, well, I know what they're trying to do to my psyche and my spirit by having me listen to this music, so I really can't get with it, you know? So, all right, one more. I'm gonna give out one more. Oh wait, somebody calling? Wait. Somebody call. Okay, one more call attempt. If not, I'm out. I'm out. 512-481-7464. 512-481-7464. All right, I'll give like 2 minutes. Nobody calls me, I'm out. Which is fine, you know. I like Ray LaMontagne though. I love him. I like Arcade Fire. I like Leon LaHavis. I like Pentatonics. I think that's the most poppy group that I like. I like them. Just the way that they arrange their harmonies is so fascinating. Like, I can, you know, like people that have good harmonies. Queen, their harmonies are great. They can harmonize really well. The Blues, the Beach Boys, their harmonies are amazing. Pentatonics, you know, really get to study. I like old school people like Paul Simon, I like people that are interesting and try interesting things. I mean, like I like everybody. Then as far as like hip hop, you know, I don't know a lot of hip hop artists. I like Kanye, but I don't know a lot of his stuff. I can't say that I'm a true fan. He produced this dude named Rory, which was really good. I like his stuff. I actually bought that dude's album. He has this badass song called The Devil's Whisper. That was a fucking dope ass song. And then I was like, oh snap! I got his whole album. I just bought it. I was like, I'm gonna support this dude. But he was produced by Kanye. Kanye's really good. I can't say I'm a fan. God, I don't really know. I'm like not a fan, but I know some of his songs. I know like 2 or 3 of his songs, but so I can't say I'm a fan because I've listened to all of his stuff, and I don't follow him a lot. But I think I think Gold Digger is one of the most ingenious like songs I have ever like listened to. Like Gene just remixes. It's dope with Beethoven's Fifth. That's flipping amazing. What was I gonna say? Yeah, like I think, and I noticed that Kanye likes a lot of classical stuff. And I noticed the movie that he did, The Runaway, it opens with Mozart's Requiem, that shit is so intense. I can't listen to that by myself because it's really creepy. It's really creepy. I like it a lot, but that's one song it like freaks me out to listen to on blast. But Fares, I don't know if I'm saying it right. His Requiem is a bit. It's more cheery and more inspiring, but Mozart's Requiem is really dark. I like Tom McDonald. I like Anomaly. I like conscious rappers of this moment. I actually like Macklemore. People laugh at me, but I like his music production a lot, and I like his humor. And I know everybody's saying that. What's his face? I bought his album too, but I wasn't super impressed. He won a Pulitzer Prize. What? Can't even think of his name. I can't even think of his name. Other black people are gonna kill me. They're gonna take away my black card. I can't think of his name. I might have lost. Let me just look at Kendrick Lamar. Everybody thinks that he's an amazing genius. I'm like, he all right. Like, I think he's overrated. And I'm not really inspired by music that's pushing the victim narrative. I'm sick of this shit. Like, even if it's good, are we still just gonna keep singing about how we used to be slaves and stuff, and we're gonna be in that victim state? I'm not really about music like that anymore. Yeah, Spanish music, Latin music, they have so many fucking talented musicians. I love it. I listen to the Zoe channel. I listen to, so that's introduced me to a lot of Latin musicians. And even older people, like back in the day, like Jose, like he was a fucking amazing tenor. That dude could probably crack voice glass with his voice. And so is Soda Stereo. Like I like some of their stuff. They're in the 80s. Cafe de Cuba, like there's so much music. I like Cigar Rose. I like Monsters of Men. Like I like Bjork. Like I just love. Like I'm telling you, I love everybody. Like everybody. So many. So many. Just. I mean, music is in us. Everything makes music. Nature makes music. Insects make music. They're not playing the violin and shit, but the way they walk, the way they move, it makes music. You know. Anybody can participate in music. Last call. All right. Hey, what's up? Who's this?
How you doing, Virstyne? Virstyne.
Hey,
No.
what's up?
No.
Is this Johnny?
Yes, it is.
Hey,
How are
Johnny,
you?
how are you?
Oh, it's always better, but the sun's shining today. We've been going through such crappy weather. I'm up here in Milwaukee, you know that. And it's like, man, we take a good day at this time of year. It's like a blessing from the Lord,
Yeah, I know, Yeah, so
Well,
the weather's good?
you got all the good weather all the time down there. I don't think it gets below zero, does it?
No, but it gets cold here. Stuff freezes. I mean, it gets, I remember one day last winter it was like 19 degrees. That's pretty cold. Especially.
Ooh, 19 degrees. I remember back, I think it was 93, 94, we had like 30, 35 days where it didn't even get up to zero. So it was like 20 below zero, 10 below zero for a high. It's like, what?
Oh, yeah, I couldn't do that. What do you do?
Go ahead.
Oh, no, it was you talk and then I'll ask you. What was what?
I was going to say it was so cold that water pipes were freezing outside people's houses, and then they had no water. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
I always say, when the toilets don't flush anymore, then you're going to have to really figure life out, because then it's like, what do you do? Yesterday you guys were talking about, food storage, growing food and stuff, and I'd like to just remind you guys, your body is a food storage. And I know everybody wants to be skinny and stuff because that's just the way life is today. But honestly, if you can afford to put 10 extra pounds on, maybe 20 extra pounds on, and kind of still feel good, and when the shit hits the fan, you're going to have a little bit of extra storage inside of you.
I never thought about it that way. You can go ketogenic, right? And just lose the weight back that way,
Well, right. I was working like a man with his house on fire earlier this year, and I think I lost close to 35 pounds, And then I was able to take a break and just without all that physical exertion, I was able to put 20 pounds back on. So I'm still feeling comfortable, but, they're messing with our food supply and everything else, and then with the GMOs and all that other crap. And I tell you, and you know this, growing food isn't easy. It's not easy at all.
Yeah.
It's like you got to be on your game, and if the bugs don't get it, you might miss it and not water your plants enough, and then they all go away on you. It's like, oh my Lord, it's like I'm doing all this work, but I'm not getting all this, the reaping the rewards from all that work,
Yeah.
So it's like if you can afford to, keep an extra 10, 15, even 20 pounds. I'm not saying get obese and just try to, get crazy, but, your body takes care of itself. I mean, it heals itself. If you got a cut, you're going to have a scar. That's just your body healing itself. Same thing with food. If you run out of food, you can live just on water for 3-4 weeks pretty easy if you have to, but just to have a little extra ain't going to hurt you.
Yeah. So what do you do when your pipes freeze? Like, how do you handle that?
What do I do? What?
How do you handle your pipes freezing when it gets really cold?
It hasn't been that cold since that year. I mean, to that point. Hopefully you have some water stored up or something. I mean, we always have water heaters you could draw off of that. I didn't have that problem, but there was neighborhoods where maybe the pipes weren't, normally the pipes are like 9 feet deep up here. And who knows, maybe that certain parts of the neighborhood, it was a little lower land and the moisture got deeper in the soil. But yeah, there was a problem back then where it's actually, they had to wait it out. They didn't have no water. It's nothing you could do. I suppose
Oh wow,
there's
you
some
can't
kind
even.
of,
So the pipes aren't exposed. You can't like run some hot water on the pipes or something like that, or.
well, the pipes are so deep in the ground, if it freezes that deep, yeah, there's nothing you can do. I know they have some kind of electrical current they can run through it, but you'd have to get to the other side of the pipe somehow to be able to do that. So I think most people just had to wait it out another week or two, when it finally started warming up and the thaw got out of the soil. It was able to start your water up again. Most of the pipes up here, the older houses, they all have that lead pipe in them too, so they can take a freeze, but before they break. But the newer houses and stuff, I suppose, I don't know how they run them. If they run them with PEX or what. I'm not that familiar with that part of it. But yeah, it's just trials and tribulations. If you have to deal with stuff, okay, what do you do? If they turn off your gas, do you have a wood burner?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So.
Dude,
But,
that's
yeah,
why I
I'm
live
just
in
close to
hotter climates.
What's that?
That's why I live in hotter climates, man. Like.
Yeah, there you go. I know you don't like the cold.
I need to get better. I mean,
I lived down in Florida for 8 years, and I couldn't take the heat. I was sweating all year round. Like, no, I couldn't do this anymore. I had to come back to Wisconsin. And then by the time I came back, yeah, the winters get cold, kind of like you, and probably a little worse. But it hasn't been anything like it has. I think our climates are changing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the climate is meant to change because that's what climate does. It's not because. But anyway, yeah, I know what you mean. Like it's.
It's just a natural fluctuation. People want to blame. What happens when volcanoes go off and you got all these CO2 and debris in the air. And there's been records of it. I believe back in the 20s or 30s there was a nuclear winter. Europe couldn't grow any food. Some big volcanoes went off and put all this dust and dirt in the air and couldn't get enough UV light through it.
Yeah, I thought that was I was overseas when that happened. That was crazy though, because it was like the whole sky just shut down. I remember watching this stand-up comedian. He was talking about like, oh, the sky just shut down.
You probably thought the end of the world was coming, eh?
Yeah, I mean, but he was just talking about like how nature is just. We think we have, this control, but then nature just comes and just lets us know that we're not in control, and how, they had to stop flights, just everything had to shut down because of the volcano. So I guess when I also would think about a volcano going off, you just think about the lava, but you don't think about the smoke and the ash and all that stuff. I mean, it was so dark that nobody could see anything. So there were planes, couldn't fly around there.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen, and that's what you got to be prepared for. Like you say, you have a go bag, you got some food stored up for a few weeks in case shit hits the fan, and you have to figure yourself out from there. I mean, if 2 weeks go by, you run out of food, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have a plan where you can get to somewhere? Do you have enough gas in your car?
I don't have enough fat to live off of.
In the Bible, keep your oil lamps full. Well, that means keep your gas tank full.
Yeah.
Because if you got to get 100 miles away to be to a safe space, or whatever, hide out in the woods or whatever you got to do, are you able to do that? You got a little tent, you got a sleeping bag, you got this and that ready to go. So you always got to be kind of just on the edge, be prepared. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I know. It's but at the same time, it's like I'm like, after you said that thing about fat, I was like, well, I'm not gaining extra weight, so I might as well. I don't plan to be gaining extra weight, so I think I'm gonna.
Well, eat a few more chocolate bars.
Yeah, but those are healthy chocolate bars. They're not. They don't have sugar and a lot of stuff. So I gotta like.
You mean the ones I sent you weren't healthy?
Yeah, they were healthy. I'm saying they were healthy. So.
You enjoyed those ones.
Yeah,
well,
they were. I shared them with a bunch of my friends and stuff, and
I
so
kind
thank you.
of felt bad because you know how men are. It's like you're going to tell them to do something, they're going to do exactly what you told them not to do.
Yeah, yeah. It was. Thank you. Yeah.
That's just our nature, Virstyne.
Yeah.
We can't help that. It's like, okay, save it for a little bit of time here and there. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough, and I'm sure your keto diet, it's tough to keep on a regimen, you know. But every once in a while, you know, once a week or maybe twice a week, it's just a little bit, and
Yeah.
it won't spoil you, believe me. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
that's the little blessings we get in life. You know, keeps it exciting.
Yeah, I know. But thank you. I think I'm gonna get going though, Johnny. Let me.
Yeah, I know you're
7:30.
hungry.
Yeah, I'm
Eat.
starving.
Munch
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
munch up.
Sorry. Well, there's still food around, right? I'm just
There you
kidding.
go.
All
There
right,
you go.
guys.
Hey, man, this
All
is
right.
good talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
God
Thanks.
bless you,
Okay.
and keep on trucking. Keep on
Okay.
doing what you're doing. You got a good family out here listening to you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Bye, Johnny. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, guys. I'm gonna sign off. Thank you so much. I got 2 more days at live stream, so I'll see you tomorrow, same bat time around 10 o'clock. If you didn't get a chance to call in today, hopefully you can call in tomorrow. I know I've really been enjoying the long talks, but I haven't been seeing a lot of people line up, so I've been I kind of forwent the timer. I hope that doesn't annoy some of you guys, but I really enjoy the long talks with people that I've been able to do, because I also feel like I'll start the timer, but then they'll get into something really good, and then I don't want to cut them off. So anyway, all right, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Talk to you later. Mwah. Peace, you, and love. Bye bye.